This is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, really time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
Right, I think we're good. Can you hear me now, Erin?
There it is.
I'm sure this has been the longest road to a guest spot ever. The first time I had you on, I think StreamYard was completely down. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. I have no idea. I have the worst luck this past week. But we have my homegirl Erin on from the Saints team reporter. Man, we're gonna get some insight into this trade, some insight into the Saints. Erin, thank you so much for your time. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm so excited that we're finally in a game week. It feels like it's been forever, but we're here and it's going to be an awesome weekend. I know college football was crazy this past weekend, so I'm ready for some NFL action.
Yeah, I know everybody's reporting to camp. Everybody's finally getting, in their respective spots. So it definitely feels like it's game time. It feels like we're about to have some real football. So before we get into the trade, I know everybody wants to hear about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, as do I, but we have deeper ties than that, us, the Saints and the Eagles, right? We have a lot connecting us. Last year we made the trades for you guys to move up, for us to move back. And then this year we still have your first round pick. So I guess I want to know, as an Eagles fan, what should we expect from the Saints? Who do you guys expect yourselves to be this year?
It's interesting because I think over the past few weeks, there wasn't a lot of talk about the Saints going into the season. They kind of felt like they were flying under the radar and nobody was really saying much about expectations. But then, over the past couple weeks, I feel like people have started to talk about the Saints again and the fact that we've heard a couple national reporters say, this could be a sleeper Super Bowl team. And I almost would rather people not talk about it like that because I think they like being the underdogs and proving people wrong. But this team, if you think about what they did last year with the amount of injuries that they had, the amount of adversity that they had to deal with, the fact that they were still able to be an over 500 team, and then going into this season with the people that they've added, that how healthy they are, you're going to get Chris Olave, one of those draft picks that we had added to the offense, along with Jarvis Landry, and then, of course, Michael Thomas being back in action. The amount of offensive weapons that this team has is insane for this year. And the fact that Jameis Winston seems to be healthy, says he's healthy, looks good in camp. It's going to be exciting as far as the offense goes. And then the defense is going to do what they've done for the past few seasons. I mean, they absolutely shut people down. They're the fourth overall defense in the NFL last year, and they feel like they can be better and will be better this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And it is kind of weird because I think the Eagles and the Saints have been kind of on a parallel, kind of trajectory. I feel like there was not much talked about the Eagles, and then now we're kind of blowing up in the media's eyes, and people are thinking we're a Super Bowl contending team. So from one team going from nowhere to kind of blowing up, what do you think it is about your team, about the Saints, that has caught in all this national media attention? Was it just kind of stuff that happened at training camp? How do you guys, why are you guys now getting all this attention, in your opinion?
The biggest question mark for the Saints was the health of Jameis Winston. How is he going to come back from the ACL, MCL injury that he had last season? And, he came back probably quicker than people usually do from that injury and was doing a lot more. So it's just a matter of being able to see him out on the field, seeing what he's actually capable of doing, seeing how he's moving. And people were able to get an idea of that once training camp started, once they were able to see him out there throwing some passes, moving around on that knee. And then, of course, he had the foot sprain, the right foot sprain that he dealt with in camp too. So then, he was kind of out for a week or so during camp, but then we saw him drive the team down the field in the Chargers, our last preseason game against the Chargers, and he looked great. He had a lot of good command. It was very balanced the way that they ran versus, going through the air. So if that is the Jameis Winston that we're going to get, then I think that's why people are starting to talk about the Saints again. They're feeling a little more comfortable and secure in what Jameis Winston is going to be this year.
Definitely. And do you feel like this is, I know this is kind of a cliche thing, but is this an all in year type of year for the Saints? I mean, they do have a lot of weapons out there, a lot of guys that they're really counting on. Do you think this is kind of we're throwing all the weaponry out there and trying to get what we can get?
It's wild to think about the fact that this is the first year under a new head coach in Dennis Allen. And a lot of times you don't know what you're going to get with that. There are a lot of unknowns, but they know Dennis. He knows the team. They're very comfortable, but with what he has done with the defense and the offensive side of the ball and talking to all the players, they really respect him and the way that he approaches the game. He's very detail oriented. He has high expectations, but he helps you understand the benefit of what he's asking you to do. And once these players see the benefit of what he's asking, then they've been on board. So I think that the approach this year is going to be a little different mentality as far as, the head coach goes. It's a defensive minded coach, but they have also said that because of who we added this offseason, because what we have already had in the building, this isn't a rebuild year. Like, we think that we can contend this season. We're not going to see how the head coach does and give him a few years to kind of figure things out. Like, they expect results this season, and everybody's on the same page there. Coach Allen expects it. The players expect it. And I've definitely heard some of the players say Super Bowl this year. I mean, that's definitely what they think and they want to achieve this season.
Yeah, it's wild because it's funny that you say it like that, because I read some of these articles and even just doing research, just kind of, trying to see what I wanted to ask you. I'm sitting here like, do the Saints still have a new coach? Like, it's crazy hearing all the, expectations out of even their own camp. It sounds like you guys are ready to go. And that's wild, especially with the NFL. Usually, like you said, you take that year that you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on. So that could be a great thing for the Saints. That could be an amazing thing for you guys. Now, you are, like you said, you have a bunch of weapons. You guys were able to move on from a weapon that, I don't know why. That's really the question I want to ask you. You probably know better of why Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was a guy that you guys wanted to move on from. And beyond that, what kind of guy are the Eagles getting? What kind of guy can the fans expect and the organization expect to get?
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is somebody that absolutely met or exceeded all expectations. He came in as a 4th-round draft pick in 2019, safety out of Florida. He's played nickel corner for the Saints, and he's done extremely well. And just, last year, he started 11 games, 46 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 7 passes defended. So his production is there. He's definitely very good at what he does. And he feels like he needs to be paid as such, which means he wants to be treated as a top safety in the league. However, like I said, for us, he'd been playing corner. So there's a discrepancy there in this is what most corners are allotted in the league versus this is what most starting safeties are allotted, or their price ranges in the league, right? So there was a little bit of back and forth there on his contract, and it sounds like the two sides just weren't able to find a happy medium, and he took the opportunity, or the Saints did, to part ways because they felt like they have a lot of depth at that position. They feel like the next man up, they're not going to lose production-wise from CJ Gardner-Johnson to maybe Bradley Roby or whoever is going to step in right behind him. So that was part of it. They felt comfortable in letting him go because of the people they have in the room already. and the financial aspect of it. Right now, the Saints are projected to be $61 million over the salary cap at the end of the season. That's a huge number. And they have a lot of contracts that they need to sign. Players that they're going to have to negotiate with are center Eric McCoy, defensive end Marcus Davenport. And if Jameis Winston has a great year this year, he's only on a 2-year contract, and it's a very modest 2-year contract. So if he has a good year, they're going to have to figure something out with him. So it kind of came down to a numbers game. Unfortunately, Eagles got a really good guy, got a really good player. It'll be interesting to see how he plays as a safety. I think he'll probably be more of a strong safety role there than corner, but you will see. He is very confident in his abilities. And if you've checked out, he reads about himself, he listens to stuff that you say, and he takes notes. So for all the media out there, just be aware that he will call you out. He will make comments. He will change his Twitter headline. I think his background right now is a comment that he's already noticed from some of the media there in Philly.
Yeah, Philly is definitely not quiet, especially as the media goes. So it is.
Oh, and he will chirp right back. He will.
I love it, though. I love it. We need that in Philly, especially from our fans. Sometimes even our fans need to be called out. So I love it. Go right ahead. We will take it all you want. And you do talk about the confidence and just the mouthpiece that he has. I think that's the best way to put it. Like, he is going to be out on that practice field talking. He was talking junk about our cornerback room already. So I mean, looking at that loss, looking at the trade between the Eagles and the Saints, can you give me maybe a projection of where we could think that trade pick might? We still have your first pick round pick next year. What are you thinking with that pick? Do you think it's going to be a late round pick? I know you're probably hoping that, but as an Eagles fan, I got to ask,
Yeah, I mean, it obviously all depends on how the season goes and how those, top picks fall. So I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that we didn't get enough for the trade with CJ, as far as the Eagles kind of won that trade. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out at the end of the season. I know we're definitely looking forward to seeing y'all later in the season. I'm sure that game's going to be a little spicy for a number of reasons. We've seen CJ talk about that already. And it's funny because, when CJ Gardner-Johnson got traded, the fans were upset. I mean, they were really upset. He was a very beloved character. The energy that he brings, the passion that he has for the game. I mean, you can definitely feel it. And I think the fans here enjoyed a little bit of his like chirpy mentality and how he would never back down, how confident he was, even at times, like maybe a little bit too like confident, but they loved it. I think that they've kind of, I don't know how to say, like, they're a little more okay with him going now, just because of some of his comments that he has made over the past week. I think they understand the move a little bit more than they did when it all happened. But I mean, in talking to some of the players, Cameron Jordan's played with him since he's been here, and he said you just cannot replace the energy that a player like that brings. That's something, regardless of talent, regardless of what they'll be able to do on the field. The energy that he brought to the locker room, the energy that he brings to the field, his passion for the game, it just was special. And that's what we're going to miss.
So it sounds like the Eagles got maybe a leader, maybe a young leader in the process. So we'll see. I'm excited about that. Now, another guy I want to ask you about, but while I have you here, is Ian Book. We obviously, picked him up off the waiver wire from you guys. I know he doesn't have the craziest amount of snaps or anything like that. But is there anything from just being around the team that you know of Ian Book, what we can kind of expect from him?
Book is a great person. He's there to learn. He's there to get better, and he's very humble. He understands where he needs to improve. He understands if something that he did was not, he didn't execute something, and he understands that, like, he takes ownership of that and says that's on me. I shouldn't have done that. I need to get better at that, and I will. And I admire that, is that his ability to tell you his faults. he knows he hasn't played a lot. He didn't get a lot of reps last year because we were in a quarterback battle. And so most of those reps went to Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill because we didn't know who was going to start. And then he gets thrown under the bus, thrown to the fire, whatever you want to call it, when we put him out there as a starter against Miami because half the team was hurt and people had COVID, and that was all the option that we had. And he toughed it out. He did what he could do in that situation. And then he finally really got the work that he needed this offseason and this training camp. He got a lot of reps. I think he's going to be better for all of it. I think that everybody wants to see an elite NFL player immediately right off the bat. And it's just, that's not the reality. Not everybody is like that. And so I think we're seeing him grow up a little bit, but he's handled it very well. So I think that you'll be happy with what he brings to the table. I mean, his ability to scramble and run and gain yards on the ground is pretty special. He is definitely very good as a athletic, multi-skilled quarterback in that degree.
Yeah, and the Eagles are a team always looking for a quarterback that's willing to learn. So that's something I'm
and run,
very
right? And run, because
and run. Right?
That's what y'all do very well.
Especially against the Saints. I mean, no shot there. But
no, we were talking about that today, literally, how because we're about to play the Falcons, and Marcus Mariota is known to have that ability as well, use his legs, and we definitely got worked by Jalen Hurts last year, Daniel Jones. So mobile quarterbacks have been tough for the Saints.
Yeah, it's always weird hearing Daniel Jones as a mobile quarterback. He is very mobile, though. He's just a goofy guy, I guess.
Yeah.
But all right, so the last question I want to ask you, Erin, like we did say, we do play, I believe it's New Year's Day, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm,
so
yep.
I won't see you till next year because obviously I'm going to have to bring you on for that week.
Yeah.
But is there someone that when that week does come, I'm going to ask you, who should we look out for? Is there someone that, throughout camp, you've just been like, wow, this guy has really just, risen to the top, or just has, caught my attention a lot? Is there somebody I should kind of keep my eye on from the Saints for this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody this season is waiting to see what Michael Thomas does. We haven't seen him the past week and a half because he's been out with a little bit of a hamstring injury, but he is going to be a big factor if he plays and if he doesn't play, because that's going to change the offense immensely. So just kind of his status, where he's at, hopefully he's just in stride at that point and doing really well. But Paulson Adebo, he's a corner in his second year out of Stanford, had a really great season last year, got kind of thrown in to the fire pretty quick and did really well with it. They actually had brought in another player in Bradley Roby, a vet, a starter, thinking that Adebo wouldn't be ready. But Adebo started every single game last year. He was the only defensive player that started every single game last year for the Saints. And he just didn't give up a spot. He played so well. He had a pass breakup in every single day of training camp. He looks like he's elevated his game to another level. So he's somebody there to look for on the outside, a cornerback there.
Wow, I remember him from last year. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I remember him from last year.
Yeah, for sure. He had 3 interceptions. He had a really good year. And then Marcus Davenport, if he's completely healthy, like it seems like he's on track to be ready to go. Actually, our coach Dennis Allen said that he's the biggest difference maker on the defensive side of the ball, which is wild to think about with all of the people that they have. Davenport's a defensive end, but you have Cameron Jordan on the other side. You have a linebacker in Demario Davis. And then you added, safeties, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. So it's like you have all these huge names out there. And to say that this person that we haven't seen a lot of because of health over the past couple of years is going to be the biggest difference maker on the team is going to be fun to watch.
That's going to be crazy. Yeah, Paulson Adebo, I remember actually like watching him during the draft and everything. So I was actually a guy that I really liked for the Eagles. I didn't know that he was doing so well for you guys. So that's why I asked those questions. You got to ask those questions. I love it. All right. Well, Erin, I'm going to get you out of here. I appreciate your time so much. Is there anything you want to say to the people, anything that you got coming out that you would like them to watch, or anything you got going on pretty soon?
Yeah, I mean, we are in it. So we have obviously camp basically every day. We'll have our pregame show, postgame show for the Falcons game. We'll have one, of course, January 1st against the Eagles too, that streams on NewOrleansSaints.com. But that's where you can find all my work, or on Twitter at Erin E. Summers. So any questions, I'm happy to answer. Hit me up.
Definitely. Erin, we just made it through an interview with no hitches, no mess ups. I'm so proud of me right now.
Love it. I love it.
It's an amazing feeling. But I appreciate you so much, Erin. This was a lot of fun and very insightful. So I do appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family, and go check out Erin over there at NewOrleansSaints.com and get ready for that game, because it is time for some football. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Goes Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
Play football, care less about all that other shit.
No matter about the locks we breaking in, shots we taking it, trends we making it. Don't you chat about the pot we baking in, the rock you playing with, it's all my basically. They scared cause the bird is out. I said that the word is out, it's getting ugly, it's going. Hurts the Brown and Quest touchdown, all for the division crown.